not a lot of time, so I want to make sure we can get through everything. So thank you all for being here, first of all. To all the professors, thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk to us. The reason for this is because we've been doing the speaker series for the past few months, just bringing professors on every week, trying to understand what the blockchain education space looks like and how we can really kind of expand programming and do things like that for incoming students. Because we think that the space is going through a pretty pivotal time, and we want to bring education access to students everywhere. Is what we're trying to do. So we're in the middle of launching a couple of pretty large initiatives. So we wanted to bring as many professors on as we could to help, one, grab feedback on that, as well as grab updates from professors on where we're at in terms of the education scene at your respective universities. So I have a little PowerPoint slide that I'm about to share with you all. If I don't know who's hosting this. Is it Ashton?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, can you just give me shared access real quick? Perfect. Thank you. And just as a little bit of disclaimer, we are going to be recording this. I don't know if anyone has any objections to that. Is everyone okay with that one? Just so we can post this to our Ben page, so people who couldn't make it can watch it later. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick, and then I can present here. Okay, perfect. So the way today is going to work is the first thing we're going to do is just go through introductions on the many people that are here, professors mainly. We want to keep it pretty brief, just kind of who you are, your background, and what you've been interested in. Next, we're going to introduce our proposed faculty and research network, followed by what Eric will lead a short little discussion on what we've been doing at Ben in the education space in the past. And then we're going to introduce you to the Ben Learn platform that we've been working on for the past month and a half, and grab some feedback from you, hopefully. And then lastly, just have, if we have time, have a general discussion on the state of education, where we're at with that. Okay. So with that, I will let the professors kind of go one by one on introducing yourselves, and so we can hear from you. I don't have like an actual order of people. So Professor Mcknight, if you want to go first and get us started. You are on mute, sir.
So, well, first, thanks so much, Zane, and everyone for inviting me to join in this conversation. I am Professor Lee Mcknight at the School of Information Studies at Syracuse University. I just came from teaching my undergrad blockchain management class an hour ago. That course has been around since 2017. There's also a grad version. There's also an online version. I could go on. I might well say more. So I also advise a couple of student clubs that relate to this space. One of which is we'll put on a crypto and cloud workshop. Another of which is actually we're doing also a blockchain escape room on Friday. So there's a range of different educational activities. My research interests around blockchain. I think I see Neil and I think we're the old timers around here. So I've been doing related research since before you all were born, and going back to before, like 15 before. I was doxxed by the crypto anarchists in 1993, trying to shut some of my research down. That's a story we can tell another time. But anyway, so I've been around this space for a long time and following it and contributing in different ways, and look forward to this conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Professor Kane, if that's a perfect segue, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. And Zane, I think you're going to need to prompt everybody because the order of everybody's different on everybody's screen. I'm Neil Kane. I'm a faculty member in the entrepreneurship program at Michigan State University, but I want to issue a disclaimer. I'm not a traditional academic. I'm an entrepreneur. And about 3 years ago, when cryptocurrencies started really becoming hot, I volunteered to create a course in blockchain applications, which I've now taught for three times. I'm also, like Lee, I guess, the faculty advisor to our student organization called Spartan Blockchain Solutions. And I've got a whole bunch of extracurricular interests going on, including the fact that just couple of weeks ago, I became a strategic advisor for an NFT platform company based in Detroit, which will be launching in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We can go to Professor Marco from the University of Florida.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marko Sulejic. I'm an associate director and associate professor at Digital Worlds Institute at the University of Florida. Digital Worlds sits between College of the Arts and College of Computer Sciences. And we do classes in video games, 2D, 3D animation, entrepreneurship, and such. I personally teach courses on video game design, entrepreneurship in new media, and blockchain innovation in digital arts and sciences. The blockchain course is the course that I authored a couple of years ago, and I've been teaching it as an undergraduate course. I'm also an entrepreneur in residence at the Warrington College of Business here at University of Florida. Most of my background is in entrepreneurship and startups, primarily in the emerging technologies and internet in the 90s and video games and stuff like that. Currently, we do have the one undergraduate course. And in the last couple of months, I had received a series of green lights and enthusiasm from UF, which is really encouraging. We are now working on a second course, while the first one is being recorded this fall, and a very high value production that will be offered as an online course. So we'll have it both on campus and online. We're developing the second one. The blockchain club here at UF has been resurrected, so to say. So now we have about 50 to 70 individuals. I'm the official mentor. And most of my research in the world of blockchain has to do with blockchain and art. When I say art in a relatively wide sense, from video games to NFTs and smart contracts, as well as entrepreneurial efforts that can implement certain blockchain solutions in the world of entrepreneurship. I have a mixed background. I do have undergrad in computer sciences, but I also do have MFA, and I have a PhD in theory of arts and media. So I have a varied background there. So that much about me. And also just a quick note, if anybody's going to be in Miami next month, I'll be there for about a week. I'll be there for a few days before. There are a couple of events that will be happening in the Wyndham area there with NFTs. And there will be Bitcoin 2021. Following that, there will be another conference in Orlando that has to do a lot with lobbying on a state and federal level for laws surrounding blockchain. So if anybody's going to be there, please hit me up. I would love to meet up in person. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We can go to Zesis, if I pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me here. That's a very exciting initiative. I only found out about Ben maybe 2 months ago, and I was really happy to hear that this is a thing. The plot twist is that I'm not a professor. So I am a postdoctoral fellow at the Rotman School of Management here at the University of Toronto. Well, I've been with the University of Toronto for 10 years now. So I started at the engineering department in 2011. My master's and PhD was there. Primarily, my research had been in applied machine learning in various fields like computer vision, hardware verification of all things, and computational social science, and so on. But I have worked in the past, I think since 2015, I would say, I've been working in the blockchain domain as well. I was part of Professor Veneris's group that was, at that point in time, they were working a lot on decentralized oracles. And 2 years ago, I moved to finance. So I joined the Rotman School of Management, and particularly an institute within Rotman, which is called the Financial Innovation Hub, FinHub. It is led by Professor John Hall. It's a very well-known name, right? The options book, I'm pretty sure many of us are familiar with. And also Professor Andreas Park is part of the leadership there. And the mandate is to educate students in emerging technologies in fintech. That includes, of course, machine learning, but also blockchain and decentralized finance. And of course, to conduct research as well in these domains. I've been an instructor at U of T for quite a while, but mostly in algorithms and data structures, machine learning, applied machine learning in finance. But the great news is that starting September 2021, we're going to have the first decentralized finance course as an experimental status for now. The first decentralized finance course at the University of Toronto, offered to MBA students, and we hope that this is going to become a proper course eventually. But we're very excited that we managed to get this through governance. It's not always easy, right? So I can talk about it, of course, later on. But that's pretty much it for me. And thank you again for having us here.
Yeah, no, thank you. We're definitely going to want to hear more about the DeFi course that you guys have going on over at University of Toronto. That's really interesting. And then I think we have one more, Professor Julian.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I'm driving, so I'm just on audio, but my name is Dr. Brian Julian. I'm an associate professor in the Plaster Graduate School of Business at the University of the Cumberlands in Kentucky. We have a collaborative effort between the business school and the information technology to have a blockchain in global business program at the master's level. It combines human resources, finance, some of your business applications with some of the blockchain development. That's only a couple years old. My background is actually in government and project management, but I'm a key member on the Kentucky Blockchain Working Group, which was created by the Kentucky General Assembly in 2020. I've helped lead that. I'm also a advisor to 10XTS, which is a fintech blockchain company out of the greater Cincinnati area. So with my blockchain background, I've somewhat become the de facto blockchain coordinator for the University of the Cumberlands. And that's how I somewhat became involved in the blockchain arena. And also, I will be attending the conference or the summit in Orlando. So I'll probably run into you, Marco, while we're there. So hope to meet some other of the professors during that time. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I might be missing someone if anyone joined late, or if there are any professors here that I am missing, or is there anyone left? I know we had two that were going to join late, but I don't think Professor Conway or Stephen are here. So I think that's it. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, thank you all so much. So the next part is just Eric's going to talk a little bit about Ben's education initiatives and what we've been doing in the past, just to get you all caught up to speed on what we've been up to.
Yes, thank you, Zane. So welcome, everyone. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Eric. I'm the president of the Blockchain Education Network. I actually got my start in crypto in 2014 through the MIT Bitcoin Club. In the club had just started back then. There was an initiative called the MIT Bitcoin Airdrop, which was run by an undergraduate student, a student from the Sloan School of Business, and then they had two faculty advisors kind of helping them out. And so they airdropped, they raised from alumni, airdropped $100 worth of Bitcoin to every MIT student at the time. And Bitcoin was $200 at the time. So every student got half a Bitcoin to kind of spur this interest and engagement. Most students sold right away and were like, hey, $300, but some students kept it and then started the MIT Bitcoin Club as a way for students to get together, learn about blockchain, teach each other about cryptocurrencies, learn about Bitcoin, explore use cases. Especially, pretty early on, there wasn't a lot of faculty support besides those two faculty advisors. And the Blockchain Education Network had also started around the same time. So the MIT Bitcoin Club had joined that as the intercollegiate network of different blockchain clubs at different universities. So the MIT Bitcoin Club found a lot of support through Ben and through the other clubs that had started up that were also founding chapters of Ben, like at the University of Michigan or the Stanford Bitcoin Group. and then bringing on more clubs as time went on. So the main initiatives that Ben has always been involved in has been in resource sharing between different universities and helping create intercollegiate activities and content. So if the MIT Bitcoin Club created interesting things or did, they did this airdrop. So Ben helped other clubs do a similar airdrop on their campuses as well. In 2016, there was a whole fall airdrop series across the Southeast and the Midwest where different clubs got involved in doing Bitcoin airdrops in their campuses. We've had a lot of clubs get involved in creating content. They create curriculum and they teach students about it. So we help get more views to their YouTube. We help, we take that content and kind of share it with other clubs that are just starting up so that the older clubs help mentor the newer clubs. I think around 2017, things started to change as well, because what we started noticing was in the early days, like they mentioned, there wasn't a lot of faculty involvement. In fact, a lot of administrations were very antagonistic towards this education. A lot of our earliest clubs were shut down by school administrations because they didn't want Bitcoin being talked about on campuses. But things started to transition. We started seeing more faculty involvement, more professors getting involved. The administration wanted to have Bitcoin taught on campuses now, or rather, like they wanted blockchain and distributed ledger technologies, right? Those are like safer words, like when dealing with administrations. And so we were actually able to start working with more faculty, more professors, getting in touch with them, helping connect them to each other, and then have them get involved in either helping create content or connecting with other professors, getting accredited courses set up at universities. We've done a lot of that. And we also expanded the scope internationally as well. Or rather, Ben has been kind of international since the start. I think the Ben Italy chapter started very quickly after the Ben USA clubs started popping up in the US. And not only do we have chapters in Italy, we also have chapters in Canada, in Australia, in India, all across Europe, in Turkey, in Africa, in Latin America. And it's the same deal as it is over here. There are clubs run by students. We're just now starting to get professors interested and professors involved, but the content that's created by the clubs in the US and by the professors in the US, this curriculum in the US is we're coordinating the teams that we have in other countries to translate that content. So if a new club pops up in Turkey, they help translate the content from English into Turkish, and then you're using that to teach their students. So they're getting set up way faster than if they were to try to do this on their own and just create all this content from scratch, right? There's all this great content that has already been created, all this mentorship they've provided from all their clubs. So that's the biggest thing that Ben prides himself on doing, is this educating, this wheel of education where you have like older clubs that have created content, or older faculty like programs and classes that have already been established. And especially if the material's open and online, like for example, all of MIT's content is available online with an open license through MIT Open Courseware. And so it makes sense for a new club that's popping up somewhere in the Midwest or on the West Coast or somewhere in India to just utilize that content instead of trying to create it from scratch. And if they need to translate it, we help them translate it, and then they get to teach that there. Ben is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've always been. And so at this point, we have a lot of alumni that have gone through the program, students that have graduated, started their own companies, or gone to work for big companies. So one, we're pitching to them for like donations to help grow Ben, because Ben is a nonprofit, but we're also working now on building up our career center as well to help students with matching for jobs and helping students get placed at jobs. That's kind of our other biggest initiative besides just educating, is helping students either start companies and meet co-founders through the network, or to go join companies through our partner network and through our alumni network, just getting matched like that. So that's definitely something we want to work more closely with faculty departments, with career centers at universities, and kind of making sure that there's a future in careers for these students that are taking these classes and being a part of these clubs. That kind of covers it there. So Zane, is there something more specific you want me to cover in terms of our initiatives?
No, I mean that would cover it, I believe. Thank you so much.
So thanks so much, Eric, for that. I can get to be the trust but verify professor. So so that's all great. Now the companies that are listed on the website, can you say anything about them?
Yeah, so we have two types of companies, right? Companies that Ben students have founded and then companies that Ben students have joined. So in terms of founded, I mean, we've had a lot of companies that have come through, especially blockchain startups. Like pretty early on, Jeremy Gardner was the founder of the network. So he met his co-founder through Ben and they started a company called Augur. We've had a lot of students that started consultancies and VC firms, hedge funds. So Michael Gord is another famous alum. He started GDA Capital and he's hired out a lot of Ben students to go work at his firm afterwards. If you go over to the companies that students have joined section, I mean, we have students that have gone on to work for all sorts of companies. We have students at big established companies that have blockchain departments like NASDAQ, Oracle, JP Morgan. We also have students that have joined blockchain companies, right? Like Coinbase and Binance, and even like the smaller DeFi startups, like getting involved on all that level. So, there's tons of companies that have come through the network.
Okay, and there's no connection between the Bencoin initiative and any one particular one of those companies?
No, so the Bencoin initiative was launched by us about a year ago. And so the Bencoin is a point system that we use for students to track their progress when they complete lessons. And then what we do is the students can redeem the coins with us for financial aid for traveling to conferences. So that's the purpose of the coin. So the coin itself doesn't have any value worth, like we're a nonprofit, so we couldn't use that. I
understand. So, but it's all internal, the student initiative, and not tied back to one of those. There's no trapdoor back to one of those particular companies.
No, yeah, we're very adamant about not having ties to any particular company. And that's why we've been able to get so much trust from our students. That's why our network is like the largest, because we're not backed by any VCs. We're not backed by any companies. Like, we are Ben and we're a nonprofit. We have donations. We do some sponsored events and some sponsored activities, but those are isolated to that particular event.
Okay. So just as a little bit of feedback from me. So again, it sounds all great and I was happy to be involved, but if you could just make what you just said a little bit clearer on the Ben website, I think that would be reassuring to not just veteran suspicious guys used to lots of kind of rip-off deals around this space in particular. So just put a sentence or two more clarifying that, what you just said, somewhere on the website.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cool.
Perfect.
Back to you, Zane.
Yeah, no, I mean, any other thoughts on that one?
No, I mean, I think we're very aware of, there's a lot of scams in the network. There's a lot of ICOs, see a lot of for-profit stuff. We are nonprofit and we want to use blockchain though, and we want to use blockchain to teach blockchain and give students the opportunities to get their hands-on experience with nodes and wallets and participating in voting and DAOs and governance. So there's some stuff that we want to do with our token in terms of letting students vote with it, but it's not a financial token at all. We don't want to see it listed on any exchanges. We don't want to see it on anything there. We want it to just be for voting and for students to the point system, right? The internal point system. And so, yeah, whatever clarifications we need to make on the website, we want to make those clarifications. We know it's very important to our donors, it's very important to our team, our alumni, right? Like the members that we have. And so, yeah, I mean, we have nothing to hide there. So we'd be very happy to make those clarifications wherever needed.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So what I want to move to now is the first big initiative that we're going to talk about, which is the Ben Faculty Network. And this is kind of an initiative that's come up in the past couple of months just from doing these speaker series, right, within the education committee. Because one of our big goals has been for a long time now, just expanding access to education for students. And so we don't really see a way forward without including faculty, professors who can really push this thing forward, especially with institutional support. So what we thought to do is just to create a network of faculty and professors that will be affiliated with Ben that we can go to for things like events like this and others. Actually, I have a slide for this. Yeah, so here it is. So it really just boils down to being a network of professors / research labs who are affiliated with Ben. And to join, it would be really simple, right? You would really just join a mailing list. And there are 3 kind of initiatives that we thought of that could keep faculty engaged throughout you being a part of this network. The first one would be ongoing roundtable discussions and panel events. So events similar to this one. I know that professors like to take part in events all the time and in ways that we can do things like this. So this would be a big part of what being part of the network would be. The second would be a unique kind of research aspect to it. A lot of what we've seen in the past is professors or doctorate students or other people in academia will reach out to us being like, oh, I'm doing research in so-and-so area. Do you have any connections in these areas? And we don't really know what to say. You kind of go out to our network. Sometimes it's a dead end, but we think something that could really fill this gap is having a strong network, being like, okay, if you come to us, we can give you access to this entire, kind of network of professors and students and things like that that can help you out with this. Additionally, what we want to do is we want to start publishing research in some type of magazine format that we want to launch in the future. So that's kind of the second main initiative. And the third main initiative is the ability to contribute to Ben projects such as Ben Learn. And a perfect example of this would be Professor Andrew Miller. I don't know if any of you guys are aware of him. He's from the University of Illinois. And Ben Learn is a project we'll talk about next. But what he's done is him and I think a professor from NYU created a solidity development course, but they're still waiting on like administrative approval for it. And so in the meantime, he was like, I don't want this to just kind of sit here. I want to post this somewhere. And so he would kind of reach out to us and was like, would you guys mind posting this on the Ben Learn platform so people can actually start to benefit from this? And so what we've done is, and what we're in the process of doing is translating all of his lectures onto our Ben Learn platform to create a solidity development track. And so something like that would be a perfect example of, what professors can do to contribute to the network. And so, just to go over a few benefits to professors and, research labs that would be involved in this. And right now, this is at a super early stage, right? So this is us coming to you professors being like, is this something that, you would be interested in doing? Would this really be a value add? Would it really be helpful? So these are just some of the things that we've come up with. First is ability to connect with others in and out of academia. We think that it'd be great if professors started talking to each other to make kind of a unified push towards expanding education. And aside from that, I think just the amount of Ben alumni that are in and out of the blockchain space is pretty insane. And so, if you ever need to connect with companies in the space or startups or legacy players at all, I feel like it'd be really easy to find that through Ben. The second one would be easier to find and collaborate on research opportunities, right? That's one of the things I mentioned in the last slide. Next, it's a relatively low commitment. We don't want to make it where, we have forced faculty to come every week to hop on a meeting. It would be, hopping on discussions like this, contributing to email threads and things like that whenever you can. So we think that would be helpful. And then lastly, your contact info would be listed on our website, which would be pretty cool if anyone wants to reach out to you. Obviously, something like that would be optional. But these are some of the things that we thought would be super helpful to professors. We just want to get your feedback on what you would want to see out of a network like this, and if you see something like this being viable.
So
the floor is yours now.
Well, I'll just correct your language in one word. If you strike the word magazine, professors are accepted in media studies, aren't interested in magazines, are interested in journals. You put in the word journal, now this is a little more interesting.
Okay, well, so look at that. That's super helpful, actually.
And what will be the format of this? And maybe I missed that. Is this like a website or some kind of a Facebook type of thing? Or?
Yeah, so it would be two things, right? You would be listed on our website, and then there'll also be a mailing list that you would be added to. And so every professor or faculty member that is part of this would be on that mailing list. So there'd be two places to go to access.
Like a database-driven website where I can, I don't know, say search all professors with keyword blockchain, and I would get like Lee Mcknight, Neil Kane, Marcos.
Exactly.
Yeah, if they opt in, of course, right? I think that this kind of stems from. Ashton just suggested a LinkedIn group. I think that would also be interesting, but this stems from like previously we've used many different communication tools, and we've just kind of grouped everyone together, right? We have a lot of students in our network and a lot of recent graduates in our network. And it's really great to talk to the students and to be in the same group as the students and, to talk to them. But we've also started to see the need that professors want to talk to each other, faculty want to talk to each other, and they might not know like that other faculty are in the group, because it's mostly students talking to other students, and students talk very casually. So we kind of are brainstorming now, like, oh, maybe a mailing list would be better suited for something more specifically around this, or a LinkedIn group. So we're open to whatever tools, whatever ideas. I think the mailing list works out really well because you can send an email and that email will go to the others on the list and opportunities will go out that way. That's kind of how we handled things when I was part of the MIT Digital Currency Initiative, which would be one of the labs that we're talking to about potentially joining this initiative as well, because they were very involved in Ben and the MIT Bitcoin Club previously, but it was informally, right? Because they were a lab and we were really servicing students. So now we're thinking about how we can service researchers and professors as well.
So I just wanted to make another comment here. And again, Eric, you've done amazing work getting this thing all along, but now we get to the but there's a lot of like really excellent research in Europe, whether at, University College London, there's a really strong group. At University of Zurich, and there's a really strong group. At Oxford, there's Oxford Internet Institute. So I don't see a lot of the really, really strong, European centers as part of this network yet. And so if you're projecting ahead, so like say in a couple, so basically how is it when you scale, like if this succeeds, I don't think Neil and I really want to get emails like from like 500 universities, so I'm not sure how to handle this in a way that doesn't overload any of us individual faculty when you're actually are plugging into a lot more of the top areas for research internationally.
Sure. In terms of research internationally, Ben Europe is a very strong presence. We have University of Frankfurt Research Center that's a part of the Blockchain Education Network. We also have SDA Bocconi, which is the top business school in Italy. That's also part of the network. We're working on a bunch of stuff there.
So you don't have the top centers for blockchain in Europe yet.
Okay. So in terms of the communication, yeah, that is something. I mean, with email, it might get to be a lot. You're getting a lot of the email, but I think that we can change that if maybe there's specific topics you can opt into, or maybe a LinkedIn group would be better for like less notifications. That's something we want to be open-ended for, because we do want to be conscious of like people only getting communication that they want to receive and for it not to be overloading.
I would just add to that, I'm already overloaded, but I'm supportive of what you're doing and would certainly want to be a part of any vehicle that allows me to reach out to other faculty members. And in as much as I really hate it, I'd suggest a Slack channel, as that's a lot easier to manage information if you wind up with hundreds of people than email could ever be.
Okay, yeah. We had a Slack channel for students, but I think that, one for faculty, I think faculty understand that more. So that makes sense. That's a good suggestion.
And we have covered that group already, right, Eric? So is that not working out properly for some reason?
No, we do. We moved from Slack because to get a lot of people to check the Slack often was kind of difficult. People don't like have the app, or they don't check it. So for the students, we moved to Telegram, and people are a lot more, Telegram's on their phones. They check that. In other countries, use WhatsApp, except for in places where, everywhere, right? WhatsApp has like privacy breaches, but some places people just insist on using WhatsApp. So we use it, but we're very flexible with the tools that we use. So I think, that's the pros and cons.
I don't know how is it for everybody else, but it seems like most of my blockchain related group communications are all in Telegram. So for whatever reason, that just has been, one-to-one, it's all through Signal. Groups, it's all through Telegram. And that probably is 90% of all my blockchain related groups that I'm part of. Just kind of sharing my reality. If I don't know if it's the same for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point was that the Telegram, we didn't know if professors would use an app like that.
Or faculty, right? It might seem a little too casual.
So don't you think what's basically going to be happening is that, okay, you're accommodating the match, right? So that's like, the two, interested parties, let's say, or multiple interested parties are just finding each other. But then the follow-up from that could be outside your platform, right? Whatever the premises of that specific group is, right? are you expecting the follow-ups and then the continuing discussion, all the collaboration to be within the platform, or is it okay if it's outside?
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, what we've seen is that people like to have conversations within the platform itself, but people are also connecting all the time. Like, hey, let's link up. What's your email? And then they continue the conversation over email. We've seen a couple of people start research projects that way, or companies, or even just to like ask more questions directly to that person to get some advice without like spamming the chat with all that. So I think there's that's just like courtesies with having conversations in a group chat that have a lot of people.
I mean, honestly, I think it might be as simple as like on your own website, you can have one page with, my picture and a brief and an email address, and people can just flip through. I don't know if it's worth making a whole new platform for this, where I can go through, see who is doing what, and then if there is a contact for a particular person, if that person wants email, I'll send them an email. If they have a Telegram handle, I'll send them I'll accommodate whoever I'm trying to reach, I guess. I do share Professor Mcknight's somewhat fear if there is like a email list that has hundreds of people and everybody has the opportunity to email everybody else. I think they can get out of hand a little bit too fast.
I guess I might suggest something for right now, Eric, because this is kind of at the baby stage at the start. So at this stage, you don't have like whatever, you have 5, 10, 20, some small number of professors. It's not going to kill us to get emails from 10 or 20 professors occasionally, and then sort of move it to something else down the line. Because if you move it to something where it's too exclusive too early on, you also don't get the critical mass function. So maybe it's just what you said about like you're flexible about tools, you evolve things as you need to. If we start as an email thread that can work at the startup stage across groups without the issues and challenges of getting everybody into like a new communication mode before they're sure convinced it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, something we could do instead of like the everyone reply all type thing is just have like a specific faculty newsletter type thing. We already do our Blockchain Education Network newsletter. Sometimes we do local newsletters. So maybe it's like we have a newsletter, but we also feature research opportunities from specific universities or specific professors. Maybe we feature most recently published publications and research, and then have links to whatever potential journal or thing we might also create there. So maybe that's a way of doing it. Maybe we just have the one mode of communication from the Ben side, and all the professors can opt into that. And just from there, you get the links to what other professors are doing, what other universities are doing, and then it's not necessarily spam. It's just once every week or every other week or something like that.
Do we have a communications professor to tell us how to do this?
I mean, we're open to suggestions, but I like the idea of a faculty newsletter. Is something we do with the clubs now to kind of reduce a lot of the, lots of the back and forth. Is like if they have something that they want us to, they have an upcoming event or a conference that they want us to promote in the next newsletter, they send it to us with their contact info or their call to action link. We put it in the newsletter, and then that gets sent out to everyone. So that would cut down on the number of emails and messages, and we would just kind of get that. I mean, I think if people are happy with that, I think that would be a good medium.
Yeah, no, I think that would make things a lot simpler on our end, especially.
Yeah, I think that, one of our biggest questions is why, and we've thought about this a lot as part of why we hosted the speaker series and bringing different professors on and faculty on. What reasons would a faculty from one university or a professor from one university or a researcher want to talk to researchers from other universities? The thing that I've seen the strongest is that there's been an interest in intercollegiate research. And so that's something we want to help encourage. And another thing has been professors that are starting up a course at their own school and would like to build off of someone else's syllabus that is public or use someone else's reading materials and just kind of accelerate that process. So those have been the two main reasons that I've seen for like why we would want to make these connections intercollegiately. But if there are other reasons, we'd love to like hear them and then kind of work that into this program.
Well, Eric, I would echo those two things, except they're distinct. So research is distinct from teaching. So even if you use the same platform, I would just say, have separate channels or separate chat boards, or one way to isolate, the two threads.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, I took some notes down in terms of what we can take away from that. And we'll be sending you all follow-ups on this as well. Want to shift gears a little bit. I know we only have about 15 minutes left to talk about our last two topics. And that is kind of state of education at each university, as well as introducing our Ben Learn platform and grabbing some feedback from you all. And the reason for the Ben Learn platform was just because there's no easy way for students to go and start learning about blockchain. I feel like there's almost like an overload of information on the internet. A lot of students don't know where to start. They see Dogecoin going to 60 cents and they start to get FOMO and start making bad decisions. And so what we want to do is almost establish like this one-stop shop where if you want to learn about blockchain, you start here and we'll take you through it, and then eventually have different pathways, right? So take them through the fundamentals course, and then past that, you can hop into DeFi, hop into development, hop into enterprise use cases and things like that. And then even some professors have echoed that, there's not a lot of really solid fundamental content out there. And so we're trying to tackle that problem of being that kind of front runner where students first come to. And so we just want to introduce you all to the platform, take you through what it's like, and grab some feedback on, do you think students will actually use something like this? And what kind of incentives do students need to use or need to have to use a website like this? Because, at an accredited university, the incentives are obviously there, but until that really happens on a wide scale, something like this, we think will do the job. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so this is, as you can see, our thing. And so up on the right here, you do have to make a profile to join our, this loads. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Don't know why it's doing that. But in any case, you just need to make a profile there before you can use any of our things. And that's because you earn Bitcoin and you earn different rewards for going through it. And so this is, you can see amongst all our things, there's a Learn platform and there's the wiki. So the wiki is more just like a host of information. Anything we get, any type of educational content, we'll just host it onto the wiki. And so you can just find it there, right? So the Ben Learn platform is supposed to be something a lot more tailored, something a lot more, where you can start here and end here and learn everything you need to learn. So right now, the way that the blockchain fundamentals works is that it's links like this to start with each lesson. Right now, we have blockchain at Berkeley's lessons in place, but we're actually in the middle of developing our own blockchain fundamentals course, and that's about halfway done. So once that is there, we'll definitely send that out to you guys, just to get a feel for what that's like. So this is what one would look like, and then we have the different pathways. So after you finish the blockchain fundamentals, what we want to happen, obviously, is we would want you to finish, you as a student, to finish this before any of these open up and be allowed for you to take. But once you finish that fundamentals course, everything else will open up. And so, like we have here, we have a DeFi fundamentals course with a lecture. And then after the lecture, you would do some type of quiz, some type of test. We don't want to do traditional multiple choice tests just because those are really easy to cheat on. So we would do something like this, which is, after you do the DeFi lesson, you would set up a DeFi application. So something like MetaMask.
You can click on the MetaMask one at the bottom of it. We've been teaching this at multiple sessions already, helping students set up their first ETH address, and then they go and they complete the activity. They earn a little bit of Bitcoin initially just to get started. Yeah. And then we're collecting feedback on every lesson and how it could be better. Was it too long? Was it too short? So it's continuously getting better, right? And this whole platform is a mix of stuff that we've created internally, and then also stuff that our students have created, right? Like our clubs have created and contributed to the platform to kind of spread out the workload across all of this content.
So I have a selfish request. I think it's in here and I'm gratified to see this, but what I spent a lot of time looking for a couple of weeks ago, including on your website, is really just a list, if you will, of hands-on or experiential exercises related to blockchain. And it really wasn't an easy task, right? Because when they existed, they were embedded deep in, you know, a Coursera class or something like that. And so I was trying to compile a list of activities that I could have my students do in my course as a companion to my lectures and the guest speakers and stuff like that. So I can't tell you how general this request is, but if you had sort of like a running list or a separate repository of just, you know, here's a 30-minute exercise on creating a wallet. Here's an exercise on, you know, writing a simple smart contract or trading crypto or, you know, whatever, those kinds of things, I personally would find that very, very helpful.
Oh yeah, Zane, if you go to the wiki is kind of more of our repository where we just put everything that was submitted by all the clubs, everything we've ever made. And I guess right now it's mainly organized by category, but I think by type is interesting, right? Like whether it's video, whether it's conceptual, or whether it's hands-on. We have a bunch of stuff that students really like and activities like there's running nodes, setting up wallets, voting, participating in DAOs, launching NFTs, you know, even no code NFTs like on platforms that do the code for you. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's spread out throughout the thing based off of the category. I like that suggestion of having like a more hands-on section. We really want to prioritize hands-on experiential learning, especially because that way students are also building out their resume. You know, it's not just multiple choice quizzes, A, B, B, C, C, whatever, but you can actually point to like GitHub repos and be like, hey, I worked on this, I built this when applying to places.
I mean, another thing that I did with my students this semester, which some of them really seemed to like, is I had them take, you know, some of the edX or Coursera courses, many of which are based on the Berkeley stuff, you know, have these certificates that you can get and pay for, and then you can post them to LinkedIn. And I made that completely optional, but quite a few students chose to spend the 70 to 100 bucks to have that credential on their professional resume. So wherever you're going with this, it sounds like you guys are long-term thinkers. You know, having some way of recognizing credentials for students about what they've learned as undergraduates would be super, super, super valuable.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. We want this, the Ben Learn, right, the profile to end up being like a resume for people. We have a jobs board and a career center that we're also growing. And so being able to submit that directly using decentralized verifiable credentials, that's what my work outside of Ben focuses on. So integrating that into this, you know, I have my MIT diploma on the Bitcoin blockchain. So I think it's right now it's just novel, but through Ben and through this kind of initiative, it becomes functional because you can actually submit it to companies. So lots of cool, exciting stuff there.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think our goal with this is really to like help connect all the dots and put the whole pathway for a student, right? A student just joins, they get excited, they don't know what to do, they take a class. Not every college has a class available. We're trying to work on that, but you know, they can join Ben, they can watch these videos online. Even in the classroom or in clubs, you can go over these sessions in class, in person, like, hey, we're gonna do this activity together. Students earn the points, they earn the Ben coin, and then we're able to fly them to conferences based off of how much they've earned, right? And then at the conferences is where they can network, they can do the hackathons, and they're more prepared because they've taken this stuff beforehand. And then they can meet employers, get co-founders, you know, start companies, and kind of go through that whole thing. So I think this really helps tie it together, and we're making improvements to it, and we want to keep getting your feedback. We really value your feedback on all this stuff.
So
Yeah,
I apologize.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I apologize again. I'm on the phone, so I can't see what you're presenting. But it sounds like a lot of this is based around the development. With University of Cumberland being a liberal arts school, there's going to be other schools that excel at more the development side. The way we're trying to take the business side is more the business application. You know, how can blockchain be utilized, you know, in banking or in supply chain, human resources, things like that. So if there's resources that are available, more about the basic understanding of how blockchain is developed a little bit, but more on how this can be applied, that will provide a more of a general attraction to our business students in general, because a lot of them aren't going to be in the development. They're going to be, how can I take this technology and utilize it somewhere else? And being in the government as well, trying to teach legislators what blockchain is and why it's different than Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or digital securities or all the other terms, that application part beyond just the development, I think would be beneficial and would be attractive to a lot of our students.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, Brian. I guess you can't see me. This is Neil Kane at Michigan State, but the class that I teach is exactly what you just said. It's not a developer course. It's not a technical course. I'm an entrepreneurship professor. It's about how blockchain is applied to different industries and emerging business models and what that means for the disruption of industries and stuff like that. So, clearly what I'm hearing is that, well, I mean, it's obvious, right? A computer science major wanting to take a blockchain course is doing so for a different reason than a supply chain major is going to. And so if you have a repository of syllabi, for example, they also need to be somehow categorized according, to the purpose of the class.
And mentioning lists as well, I think that would be helpful, would be potential resources, books that could be used in a classroom setting. I don't know if it'd be a book club or anything like that, but identifying good resources to utilize in a classroom would also be, I think, beneficial within maybe a teaching network as opposed to just a student network.
So I wanted to get in a couple more comments here. I don't know what this is ending in just a couple minutes, but so the blockchain management course I teach, it's in the School of Information Studies. So it's, there is one computer science student, but it's not that hardcore. And, but still, the students still learn to do a little bit of Solidity coding. And but it's mainly really an entrepreneurial course where students come up, like they learn enough blockchain, enough Ethereum, Hyperledger, and then they have to come up with a new idea. And it could be a crypto idea, it could be an enterprise blockchain idea. And we have in-class Shark Tanks. We have a concept Shark Tank, and then we have a demo or die Shark Tank. And we get, just like at any other startup thing, we have outside people come in, give feedback to the students on their concepts. And basically they get only as far, like right now, I was just coaching them, just at the end of the semester, they've written like one smart contract that implements one little piece of what would be a real solution. So from a computer science perspective, it's all very wimpy. But when the main thing is like the concept or the new idea, it provides this kind of nice mix for getting students sort of into the idea and working hard through the concept. So I'm happy to sort of share that, or if anybody wants to hop into my demo or die Shark Tank next Thursday, a week from Thursday, along with KPMG, Blockchain Center of Excellence, and others. So I get business, real people into that kind of thing. You can sort of see how I do it live if you wanted. Second offer is because we're also so isolated and we all live on Zoom, and especially now in pandemic times, my dean is like trying to nudge more research collaboration. So there's this, based on being nudged to put together some kind of blockchain crypto research workshop for late summer. And I haven't exactly thought about the theme, but I kind of like you guys. You seem like nice people here, including the faculty too. So I can reach back to you all and sort of talk about that after this session. And if it's somehow helpful for you all to nudge your broader ambitions along, since it's still going to be mainly on Zoom, it's not like heavy lifting or hard work there. I was thinking about a journal special issue, no magazine, but there certainly have to be some academic output for it to work for us professors. But that's all I got for right now. So it was great to meet you all. I'm sure there's more we could be doing together down the line.
Thank you. I think those opportunities sound great. I would love to see the demo or die Shark Tank. That sounds really cool. And the other opportunity as well, we can plan something for late summer or earlier, whenever. I think, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. So thank you for bringing those out.
Yeah.
And then that's actually our plans when it comes to the DeFi course as well. Initially, well, now starting in September, it's going to be targeting MBA students, right? And the idea is that at the end, they're going to be proposing, they're going to have a pitch at the end, and there's going to be, peer pressure and peer reviews at the end. But what I've noticed is that some of the most successful courses when it comes to this kind of emerging technologies are those that combine, bring students from different disciplines, right? So ideally, and that's why it's important if you can somehow accommodate that interaction between different students from different disciplines, in your platform. That's very valuable. So, if you want an end-to-end, let's say, project proposal that's not just a slide deck, you need the computer engineer, you need the MBA student, teams that have different diversified skills, right? So ideally, we want to be able to do that in the future. We're not going to be able to do this year. So anything that the platform, if that's the flavor of the platform you're building, that's very valuable, exactly because blockchain is at the intersection of several different disciplines, right? So you have to have all the resources separated, but also, the opportunity for people to collaborate, right, in a very concrete manner, right? And another question I had was, I hope we don't run over time. Another question I had is for the blockchain at Berkeley courses, are they just, are they mirrored version of the ones that are taught at Berkeley, or are they as is, or is it like a similar version of what is taught at Berkeley, the ones that you have on your website?
No, they're as is. So Blockchain at Berkeley is a university chapter of Ben, and they're a part of our education committee. So we have calls with them along with the other clubs about what material clubs want to share for use within the Ben network. Okay. And they've said, like, please use our content. Like, we want these videos everywhere. And so we have them up there. It's like, hey, content contributed by different clubs. We're working on translating them through some of the other chapters we have in other countries. And but yeah, the licensing, we think about that a lot, and we want to make sure that everyone brings into the table what licenses there are, right? What permissions, because some schools are very protective of their courses. Other schools are like, yeah, this is open. This is a public license, MIT license, just take it and remix it and translate it and do whatever you like with it. So we're trying to help facilitate those connections as well, because there's a lot of existing resources that are already out there, and that would accelerate the process for new clubs and new classes to just use the old material and just remix it a little bit.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, what we're trying to avoid is what we've seen a lot happen, especially at my university, what I've seen with my classmates, and I think a lot of other universities, is that students will go through one introductory course, we'll get through it, maybe be a little bit confused by the end, and then just leave it there. We want to give them the opportunity to kind of take it and run with it and explore deeper and deeper and deeper before, they can do what they want. I think that's a lot of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and I really like the hands-on, that we're hammering on the hands-on experiences. Like, we're trying to provide more hands-on experiences for students. Yeah. There's students that are like, not just developers getting involved in coding and building projects, but like there's a lot of traders that want to be analysts and hedge fund managers. So we've started an intercollegiate crypto hedge fund where students can trade some crypto, write reports, do the analysis, we pay for premium membership for some of these enterprise tools. They can get experience like that, and then they can go apply to be analysts at real hedge funds. We also have the meta delegates, so we're getting involved in DAO governance, and this is actually being led a lot by the Harvard Law School Blockchain Club, is that they really found a way to be involved through governance and DAOs and voting and debating and policies and tokenomics. And so they've been like a great help. They've attended like all of our meetings about that to help other clubs get involved more on the DAO side and the DeFi governance side of the blockchain space. That's opened the door for so many new non-coders to get involved, because it's just a new way. And then there's the entrepreneurship stuff, like getting involved in hackathons, startup competitions, helping students with business plans. A lot of clubs have been interested in doing business plan competitions, startup competitions. So we've been helping like the continuity of that, because usually they're open to students from other universities. So it's like, oh, it's really cool, this idea of someone coming to Ben and then not only participating in the startup competition from their own school, but taking that same idea through all the different startup competitions from all the different universities and ended up with a great idea forged in fire by the summer that they can throw themselves full-time into.
Yeah. So I know we're running a little bit over time here, but we have two professors that came in a little bit late. Would love to get them to do just a little bit intro so that we know who you are, Professor Conway and Lucan.
I'll go first, Steve. You can go next because I can bridge to you nicely, since Caitlin spoke at our group today. So I'm Dan Conway. I'm at Arkansas right now. I did want to say I had been at Indiana before on faculty, and we taught a course within the SAP framework where my students built up an SAP company, just blindly clicking and filling in forms, how a lot of people learn SAP. And then hidden in the background, another school in Germany was doing the same thing. But we set it up so that our processes weren't going to do very well together. And then halfway through the semester, the syllabus says disruption. And then after that, it just says change management. So the students didn't know what was going to happen. And on that day, we announced a merger of the two companies, and the students were going to have to figure out how to reconcile their SAP systems. And as you might guess, there was some stress associated with that, but we had the players involved. We had the CFO of SAP, and I had some CIOs, John Deere, General Mills, and other companies that kind of go through this playing it. And it worked out from the dean's point of view. You know, the Wall Street Journal writes it up, SAP annual report, things like that. But none of them write how much work it is to make that do well. And if you're going to build that out into a digital ecosystem. So you think of the opportunity that you have right now isn't so much in building little blockchains individually, but it's in creating a digital ecosystem. So my students at Arkansas could start building out their organization on a Hyperledger blockchain. And then I could get in with Steve's school and he could have a similar course building up using Cardano beef chain. And then, you know, with halfway through the semester, all right, one of you is supplying the other. And the way we had set it up is school A, some of their suppliers were, they didn't know it, but according to school B, some of them used child labor. And according to school A, some of school B's suppliers used environmentally unfriendly things. And they had to reconcile those things and, you know, actually work across time zones and with people that you can't physically see. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially since this is a technology or digital ecosystem, that you could really create these simulated environments where students are forced to get into the issues of interoperability. And with that, I'll hand it off to Steve.
Well, geez, Dan, first of all, good seeing you again, Dan. You know, actually, I work pretty closely with the University of Arkansas. I'm the director of the blockchain center at the University of Wyoming. My partner and I, Caitlin Long, many of you may know her, kind of, you know, I've been working with the Wyoming legislature here for the last 4 years, kind of creating the enabling environment that Wyoming has created. And I've since a couple of years ago, I joined the university as a full professor and teach digital assets. As Dan mentioned, I'm also the founder of Beef Chain, which is a company that uses blockchain to track cattle using or livestock, really, because we're doing sheep chain now too, on the blockchain under a USDA PPP program. So I'm happy to announce the University of Wyoming has a blockchain miner now, and I've been working with a lot of universities, not only with helping them kind of, you know, create a potentially enabling environment like the state of Wyoming has, but also, you know, we've been teaching digital assets here for a couple of years, in many cases from things I shamelessly stole from Dan Conway. So I'm happy to report that I like the whole collaborative approach that we're doing here. So you know, looking forward to participating with you all. If there's any way I can be of any help to anybody, you know, certainly Wyoming's done some unique things. We created the first token taxonomy in the country. Most states and the federal government are now copying our taxonomy. We created the first new financial services industry in the US in the last 40 years with these digital custody banks, which we call SPDI, Special Purpose Depository Institutions. We created legislation around making digital assets super negotiable. We mapped digital assets to Uniform Commercial Code. And in fact, the Uniform Law Commission is going to be using our mapping to roll out to most other states, or all other states, somewhere in the 2023 area. So, you know, we've done some, you know, pretty fun things here in Wyoming, and look forward to, working with each and every one of you. And if I can help in any way, please don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. In terms of like scheduled content, I believe that's all we got. I know we're a few minutes over, so if anyone does have to leave, please feel free to do so. But thank you all so much. This was super helpful, and it was great hearing from all of you. So I'll be sending out like a little post-meeting email with some updates as well as some feedback that you mentioned.
Yeah, include all the resources too. I mean, all the resources that have been posted in the chat thus far, this is exactly the kind of stuff we're looking for. We could add this to the wiki, send that out to the students, the other professors. I really liked what someone brought up earlier about what materials are the best for teaching, which is different than the materials that are best for learning, and kind of distinctifying that and then sharing that around. Because I mean, all the syllabi and all these courses need supplementary materials that students can learn on their own. So it'd be really good to share more of that and get a sense of what everyone thinks.
Well, like I say, it's been a pleasure to meet all of you. And I'll be following up with, I guess, well, I'm not sure whether, I guess Zane is a point of contact, or Eric, or whoever. And I'm serious that you guys are all welcome to hear like 4 new blockchain / two enterprise, 2 crypto new concept ideas that the students have gotten as far as first smart contracts, and some presentations next Thursday, 3:30 to 4:50 Eastern Standard Time. And I'm sure there's much more to come after that.
Oh, and Professor Mcknight, if you want to go ahead and plug the thing tonight, that's happening on Friday.
That's right. Yeah. So can I share this, take the screen for a second?
I think
Yeah.
Ashton's will let you do that.
Let's see, where is it?
Yeah, I got you.
Let's see if I can find it.
I just made you co-host.
Yeah, here it is. Do folks see it? Oh, wait, how do I share a screen? Oh, here it is. Okay, so if you, this escape room thing that is being put on by the student, you guys see that? Yeah, that is this Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'm sure the students would be thrilled if more of you all randomly came in from across the country or wherever you are. And we also follow that with this crypto Q's student group that sounds like they could benefit a lot from what your Harvard Law and others know already, because they have similar ideas about doing sort of real investment in crypto space. So that the 4 o'clock thing is offline, so you can't come if you're not in Syracuse. But and it's not really, but the escape room, come on in, join, have some fun for an hour, play around. And then again, there's the kind of content that students created a semester ago, and be something that we'd be happy to sort of throw into your, well, I'm just a faculty advisor, it's not up to me. The students have to decide, but they could throw it into your pot for other, it's actually, I was impressed by how well when the students put it together, how creative it is. So it's simple, it's fun, it's different. It does involve the dark web and Silk Road, just as some of the stories in there too, but just a little bit, just to make it more fun all around. Okay, so anybody if you take a picture of that and get your QR code, you're in to the escape room. All right, should I stop sharing?
Yeah, Zane says he has the graphics, so Zane will be able to share it in the main chat that we have.
There you go.
People in there.
Very good.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be plugging that in the Ben USA and Ben International chats.
Cool.
All right. Thank you. I mean, it was a really great session. Really enjoyed hearing from everyone. Lots of exciting stuff planned. And I enjoyed hearing like how many different universities were represented, even on just on this one call.
Very good. Exciting stuff. And thanks for all your hard work there over the years, following through on your vision, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Zane, for reaching out, and very nice meeting everybody. Bye.
All right, see you all.
Thanks. Nice meeting you, bro. Bye.